Hi, and welcome to Weeb Paradise, your double daily dose of anime movie recap. On today's recap, we are going to talk about The Castle of Cagliostro, a 1979 Japanese animated action-adventure comedy film co-written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki. It is the second feature film featuring Monkey Punch's master the foreseen Lupin III from his manga series Lupin III. The Castle of Cagliostro follows gentleman the foreseen Lupin III who successfully robs a casino, only to find the money to be counterfeit. Be careful, this video contains spoilers, so if you are not ready, get ready. The movie begins with two men robbing a casino. They run to their car as more people run behind them. They try to chase them in their cars, but they quickly discover that they have been sabotaged. Thus the robbers escape. As they drive off laughing in their pile of cash, suddenly Lupin, the man driving the car, says, "Let's dump the cash." The other man, Jigen, is shocked, but Lupin says it's counterfeit. They open their doors and let all the cash fly out. They then head to Cagliostro, where the counterfeit money is coming from. They have heard stories that people who snoop around there are never seen again. Suddenly their tire gets punctured, so they stop to fix it when they spot a girl in a bridal dress speeding away in her car, while men in black attire chase after her. Lupin also speeds after them to help the girl. They soon get rid of the car with the men by shooting at their tires. Lupin drives by the girl honking at her when they realize that she has fainted in the car. Lupin jumps into her car as they drive off a cliff. He slings a rope around a branch and catches the girl as they hang from it. The girl comes back to consciousness and stays still as she realizes their position. Suddenly the branch breaks, and they fall. This causes Lupin to faint. The girl tries to help him but takes off her glove, making it wet and putting it on his face. She then spots the same men coming towards her on a boat, and runs off as they follow her. Lupin returns to consciousness as his friend also comes down to him. They spot the boat taking off with the girl. Lupin finds a ring in the girl's glove with a dragon symbol on it. He realizes he has seen it somewhere, and they quickly take off in his car. They reach an abandoned castle that has the same crest and meet the groundskeeper, who tells them that there was a fire there 7 years ago, and since the prince and his wife passed away, this castle has been abandoned. Lupin heads off and sits at a lakeside. He looks at the ring and says, "You went and got all grown up." He shows Jigen another castle from the roof. It's the castle of the regent, the Count of Cagliostro. And the same boat is parked outside. He says he was here 10 years ago to solve the mystery of counterfeit money, but he had to run away. They spot the king flying in his autogyro nearby, and they walk off to find an inn. As his advisor lets him know of the girl's escape, when she has gone to try on her wedding attire, the king lands in his castle. He says she has been put to sleep now, but some foreigners had tried to help her escape. The king tells him to dispose of them. He heads off to the tower, where the girl is sleeping. He has a similar ring, and he notices the girl's ring is gone. This worries him as he walks out and asks for Jodit, the advisor. Meanwhile, Lupin and his friends sit at a restaurant, inspecting the ring. The waiter tells them that it's Lady Clarissa's ring. She's the princess, and it's her wedding with the count soon. Lupin also realizes that the count's spy is there. They rest in a room where the count's assassins attack them. But they manage to escape. The scene changes to the castle. We see a woman guarding the princess's door. She sneaks off to listen to Count's conversation. Jodit is there to tell him that Lupin has escaped, and the woman recognizes that name. There's a note on Jodit's back from Lupin, telling the Count that he will steal his bride. He signs it as Lupin III. The scene changes as a man named Geoman arrives at where Lupin and his friend are staying. They called him for help. The Japanese police also arrive at the Count's castle. But the Count gets them escorted out, saying he has guards of his own. Meanwhile, Lupin, his friend, and Geoman plan how to get into the castle. Geoman figures out that Lupin called the police. They all then make their way into the castle through the water going into the castle. Lupin dresses up as Zenigata and fools the guards by telling them that the real Zenigata is the one disguised as Lupin. While the guards are busy fighting with the police force, Lupin makes his way inside. As Zenigata follows him, he falls into a trap leading to the basement. Meanwhile, Lupin runs into Ms. Fujiko. They seem to know each other, and she guides him on where he can find Lady Claris. Lupin makes his way to Claris. She is shocked to see him as he returns her ring, vowing to help her to escape. But the girl is worried, saying the castle is too dangerous to escape. Lupin is disappointed that she doesn't believe in him. He conjures up a flower out of thin air to show her his capabilities. This makes her very happy. But soon, the Count shows up, and all his assassins surround Lupin and take away Clarice. A door opens under Lupin's feet, and he falls through it. Clarice cries and calls the Count a murderer, but he tells Clarice that he worked for her family for generations, and they used assassins too. And now, once their rings would come together, they would be able to find a hidden treasure of their ancestors. But Lupin hears all this as the ring he gave to Clarice was a transmitter. He tells Clarice that he will come for her, and warns the Count that he will blow up his ring if he harms Clarice as he has the real ring. Water is gushed through the tunnel that Lupin is in as he falls through. There Lupin encounters Zenigata, who is also stuck and worried about the number of dead bodies there. Zenigata wonders what's going on in this castle, when Lupin tells him that Fujiko is also here to get to the bottom of that. The Count's assassins arrive to retrieve the real ring. But Lupin and Zenigata are ready for them. They manage to defeat the assassins and lock Jodit in the basement with them. As they escape, they arrive in a room where all the counterfeit money has been printed. This makes Zenigata very angry as he says he will get on this case. Zenigata agrees to help Lupin until they escape. As he is a thief, and he plans to arrest Lupin later as well. Meanwhile, Miss Fujiko goes to Clarice and reveals herself as a female spy who came to find out the castle secrets. She knows that Lupin is here, and it's about to become messy, so she plans to leave. Smoke then starts coming out of the basement. It's a sign for Geoman and Gaijin that Lupin has kicked things off as they are watching from the abandoned castle. The guards in the castle start panicking. Lupin and Zenigata had started a fire with the money as a distraction. The guards come to put out the fire, and Lupin and Zenigata take this as their chance to escape. They run up and steal the Count's autogyro and head off to the tower to help Clarice. The guards and the Count show up at the castle there, and Fujiko holds them off while Lupin takes Clarice. Fujiko then tries to follow, but they trap her. While Lupin tries to get back on the autogyro, he gets hit in the chest by it and falls. Clarice manages to catch him, but he gets badly wounded. The Count and Jodit come and start firing at them. The Count tells Clarice that he will spare Lupin's life if she returns the ring to him. Clarice finds the ring as Fujiko tells her it must be under his collar. She starts walking towards the Count when Zenigata returns in the autogyro. Fujiko grabs Lupin and hangs onto the autogyro as they fly off. The Count grabs Clarice as well as the ring. They head back as Gaijin and Jodit manage to grab Lupin in his car. Meanwhile, Zenigata meets with his superiors at Interpol and tries to convince them to arrest the Count. But they say the newspapers portray him as a hero and Lupin as the one who tried to abduct his bride. It also says that Zenigata tried to help them, so due to worrying about what the public would believe and numerous political issues, they don't agree with Zenigata. When Lupin wakes up, he recognizes the dog as Carl. The dog used to be Lady Clarice's before she had to leave. When Lupin's memory recovers, he immediately gets up, realizing the wedding ceremony is tomorrow. Lupin eats and prepares himself. Everyone tells him to rest, but he is eager to rescue Clarice and save her from the wedding. He explains to his companions that he came to Cagliostro 10 years ago for the counterfeit money, but he got badly wounded and somehow managed to make his way outside the castle. There Clarice was the one who helped him to recover. Suddenly a piece of newspaper falls through the window. It's from Fujiko, telling Lupin that a priest from Vatican City is coming for the ceremony tomorrow. Meanwhile, Zenigata also gets a call from Fujiko telling him about Lupin's plan. The next day Fujiko arrives disguised as a TV reporter. Zenigata also makes his way to the castle with his police force. The wedding proceeds as Clarice obediently follows through with everything because she's been drugged. But Lupin crashes the ceremony with Gaijin and Geoman. The assassins stab Lupin, which snaps Clarice out of her daze, but it turns out that was just a dummy and Lupin was disguised as the priest. He manages to escape with Clarice and the rings. Meanwhile, Zenigata reaches, and Fujiko and Zenigata head to the basement with the cameras pretending like Lupin could be there, and they are filming him. But they come across the counterfeit money and film it all. Lupin escapes as Gaijin and Geoman hold off the assassins. He realizes that putting the rings together reveals the answer to the riddle for the treasure. They make their way to the clock tower, but the Count manages to follow them and fights off Lupin. He takes off after Clarice, and they end up at the clock tower's base. He is ready to push Clarice when Lupin arrives and tells him the secret of the rings. He says he will hand them to him if he lets Clarice go. But the Count manages to push them both into the lake as well as grab the rings. He fits the rings into the clock mechanism. This causes movement, and the Count is crushed to death by the clock's arms. The tower falls, and the lake gets drained, revealing beautiful ancient Roman ruins. This was the true treasure of Cagliostro. Clarice and Lupin are also safe. Clarice then insists that Lupin takes her with him, but Lupin tells her to stay in Cagliostro now the proper way. As Lupin drives off with his companions and bids farewell to Clarice, Zenigata goes after Lupin, and Fujiko drives off with the printing plates of the counterfeit money. And this brings our movie to an end. 2 anime recaps per day. 1 early in the morning to wake you up, and 1 mid-afternoon to take a break after your work. That's my motto for this channel, so I am counting on you to subscribe and press the bell icon. And if you want me to recap a specific movie, let me know in the comments. I'll make sure to satisfy you. Have a great week, and see you next time, nerds.